Well, a fairly unprecedented intervention from the International Monetary Fund on the Truss Kwarteng budget that, of course, the likes of the BBC are highlighting there, saying that Kwarteng has been sent a stinging and unusual rebuke by the IMF. Now, just to get the track record of the IMF out there, you may remember back in 2016, as the economist Ruth Lee points out there, prior to the referendum, in fact with less than a week to go until the Brexit referendum, the IMF used its annual report on the British economy to say Brexit would plunge the UK into recession next year, referring to 2017, talking about that recession, a stock market crash, a steep fall in house prices, later admitting they had got it wrong, as Ruth Lee points out. So interesting then to see the IMF getting involved in the UK budget here. And of course, this has triggered a fierce backlash from Brexiteers. But first of all, see this statement put out by the IMF saying they are closely monitoring recent economic developments in the UK, saying they do not recommend large and untargeted fiscal packages at this juncture, as it is important that fiscal policy does not work at cross purposes to monetary policy, saying furthermore the nature of the UK measures will likely increase inequality. And they're saying the November 23rd budget will present an early opportunity for the UK government to consider ways to provide support that is more targeted and re-evaluate the tax measures. As I said, this has sparked an absolutely fierce backlash, this IMF intervention. Andrew Lillico there saying that he's embarrassed for the IMF, saying this is the IMF self-declaring as a left-wing body, that the UK should now withhold its IMF contributions, and going further, saying I'm 100% serious in this. If the IMF is going to declare publicly that the UK having 2 tax rates instead of 3 is unacceptable, the UK government should withdraw from the IMF, as UK membership of that body no longer serves any positive function. Saying whether the UK has 3 income tax bands or 2 is absolutely nothing to do with the IMF. The UK government should tell them to get lost. The Bruges Group weighing in here as well, saying horrified by the prospect of an independent, low-tax, dynamic UK meeting with long-term economic success. Romaniacs and their friends in the EU, IMF, etc. are trying to bounce the government into returning to failed EU-style economic policy. Truss and Kwarteng must stay the course. Conservative MP John Redwood commenting on this, saying so the IMF and some big foreign investment banks and funds do not want the UK to be more competitive with lower taxes. He says he doesn't recall them offering advice against the global policies which brought on the inflation which has so disrupted living standards. Lord Frost, another Brexiteer, commenting on this and telling the Telegraph there that the IMF has consistently advocated highly conventional economic policies. It is following this approach that has produced years of slow growth and weak productivity, saying the only way forward for Britain is lower taxes, spending restraint and significant economic reform. He says that Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng are rightly focused on delivering this, and they should tune out the criticism from those who are still in the intellectual world of Gordon Brown. And finally, the former Conservative MEP David Campbell-Bannerman saying he'd been left open-mouthed at the IMF, demanding more public spending rather than tax cuts. Since when did it abandon capitalism? This leftist EU virus needs expunging. So the WEF wants a Chinese communist system, it appears. So as I said, a big backlash against this IMF intervention. I think the key test here is Liz Truss going to change course due to establishment pressure from the likes of the IMF, or is she going to stay the course and stick to her economic plan? Let me know what you make of what the IMF have had to say there and the backlash to it, guys. I will keep bringing you the very latest, so please do whack this video a quick thumbs up. Do check out my newsletter. I'll put a link down below. And of course, as ever, cheers for watching.